is called God as a Weapon. Islam in this present day is now facing a problematic and radical interpretation by the hardcore members of extremist organizations who claim to represent the entire Muslim nation, even though most Muslims in the world disagree with these hardline fundamentalist ideologies and how they take from the Quran passages and verses, manipulating the words for their own purposes, teaching the young in a speech to reach for the gun, deceiving them by making them believe in the one solution they've been using for every problem revolves around violence and just prolongs the idea that if you don't agree with their point of view, then your dedication to Islam is somehow not true. But no extremist with a gun could ever be above you, because when you leave this earth, only God can judge you. Not done yet. Thank you very much, though. Now, as peace between the Middle East and the West gets less likely, more blood will be shed. Many groups of people will be affected in an instant, conservative or liberal, it really makes no difference. Any kind of Muslim is now a target for a hate crime every time an extremist is martyred on the front lines, on a primetime network that is part of the media, where fear and sensationalism is what they're feeding you. It happened before and it's happening again, because after communism came to an end, they needed a new enemy for the cycle to be started. Communism is dead, so now Islam is the target. They blame an entire religion for the wrong decisions of some of its followers, the type of mistake that's as common as calling for the death of every American and European for a war that most of them didn't even want to be in. So now we live in a state of emergency where they profit off of the tragedy. Both sides in the war guilty, military mentality. Fear and intimidation is now the weaponry to be used in a battle where there's never going to be no victory in its infancy. So frequently, civilian death on a TV screen. Anybody tell me what it all means when the life of a human being is much less important than the value of the green and the war machine and the oil and the price of gasoline? It comes down to this. It's the dollars and the cents. You call it terrorism, they call it development. And your third world country is a lamb to the slaughter, because money is the only God to them in this new world order. Thank you very much. Whoa, sitting on the couch. Looks comfortable. Who's looking forward to see ApSci? Right there. You can go bother them. Go bother them. So, up next. This is a song called A Long Time Coming. Before we get started, to all the men in the audience, because people have come up to me and they've said stuff like, hey, I like that song you did about women. It's kind of about women, but mainly to the men in the audience. To all the men in the audience, if you have respect for women in your lives, whether that's your wife, your girlfriend, your sister, your daughter, whoever, make some noise. So, some guys are bitter. They're like, oh, no, I'll make you noise. Fuck you, Shinji. Fuck you. Long time coming, like this. $6 billion stories to tell on the planet, and for most of these people, a woman and a man can never be viewed as equal. Since Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, we were given these misleading reasons reflected in the media that we're expected to believe in. But the stereotypical representation of what it means to be a man is based on the basic DNA foundation of 49% of the world's population. Leaving the female part of this equation, in truth, viewed as sexual objects with reduced employment prospects. And that's what a woman is supposed to be, or at least that's what we were made to believe in the masculinity planted into me and passed on down from a family tree. Hereditary abuse, abuse, to try to justify all of these inequalities that never cease to exist between you and I. Every strong man is a strong woman behind him, but I don't leave you behind me. Instead, I leave you right beside me, because we're living in a world of uncertainty with much cause for concern. We need to be hand in hand, one woman, one man, when the planet starts to burn. So hard to be, it's a part of me, so clearly a part of my father before me, we were raised in a way that has stayed the same for generations to the present day. Even though it's the 21st century, you can't deny we are still tied to a 1950s mentality. And the fact that it's so constant, reaching each of the 5 continents, means it's deep within the unconscious mind of a man, caused by the consequences of the media. Raising a TV generation with a couple of representations bearing little or no relation to an actual female situation. It's created by the status quo. Yet another way for them to maintain the same system of control. And if you insist that the truth is so skewed in my point of view, before you do, take a look back at the person who gave birth to you. And then you get the woman in your life who will never be defined by these stereotypes and agendas. So remember that the next time that you're face to face with a member, my gender, who can truly understand, you are now a witness to the difference between a boy and a man. Like that! Make some noise for Zalila. Really filled up. There's like 3 people here, and now there's 10. Thank you very much. So basically, just to explain that last song that I did for you, it is about social programming. The way that we as men have been programmed by the media, culture, history, economics, politics, all kinds of tricks, to think about women as secondary. Fuck that. That's all I have to say. Because I'm with a woman who I fear, okay? She's coming tomorrow. I know, as guys, because we've been brainwashed by the media in all kinds of ways, we get to a point when we get older and start realizing that a lot of the things we were taught while we were being brought up is a bunch of bullshit. All I have to say is, it is 2010, and to all the men, grow the fuck up. Some people not doing that. What next? What do we have next? Stars. It's a hole in the ozone, the smoke and the fumes, the greenhouse gases and the fossil fuels, the polar ice caps, the natural disasters, the car you drive, the factories and contractors, the temperatures rising and I can hardly breathe, animal species extinct, and increasing disease, toxic waste that are lacing. The situation we're facing is this the environment for my kids to be raised in. The concentration of hazardous gases trapped in the atmosphere, animal habitats and plants disappear till there's nothing but concrete and metal when the dust settles, and no solutions to the coronary artery diseases, respiratory seizures, the number of cases increases, complications showing no indication of ever changing, taking hold for generations, the corporations, the billion-dollar contracts and governments worldwide who refuse to take action, the general public who don't believe change can happen. This problem is much bigger than you could ever imagine. Rain will fall. Cold, hard rain will fall. With these stats, what we can now be told on a day-to-day basis by the same countries who hold firm foundations in third world nations, draining the resources for the maximization of profits. No stopping it as long as they pay the local workforce a minimum wage. Present day slave labor favors capitalism, and the fact is this practice by definition is just another word for colonialism. But this time the slave ships in imperialism have been replaced with the dominant economic system. The developing world in a submissive position. Decisions are made and politicians are paid for the permission of foreigners to operate in the place where you grew up now. Permanently changed beyond recognition, a little more each day. And now they say we need to think about the environment and how we should save it. But you know what? No one's done more damage to the planet than they did.
Because our brain will fall. Because our brain will fall.
Come down. As the smokestacks rise into a black sky, stock market prices climb to a new high. As the smokestacks rise into a black sky, stock market prices climb to a new high. Last winter, it's the last winter. The last winter, it's the last winter. The last winter, it's the last winter. The last winter, it's the last winter like this.
Smoke rises, 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 smoke rises.
Last winter, it's the last winter. Last winter, it's the last winter. Make some noise!
You have a little break? Or, I mean, like a nice special guest?
I think we can invite our next guest up. Yeah. Who wants ApSci? You're drunk. Do one more spoken word piece. I might fuck it up. There's a 90% chance I'll fuck it up. I always fuck it up. So this is about the history of hip hop, from what it used to be to what it has become. It is called The List, and it goes like this. The birth of the first hip hop record was in '79. But we need to go back to the past to actually find a timeline that essentially started centuries ago, and it stretches back to the West African griot. The name given to the individuals of a tribe, to those known as poets and musicians who relied on words and rhythm to describe the world we live in, and today's MCs are a part of this tradition. Jazz and blues fueled it, soul and funk too, contributed to with just to name a few, and Cool Herc used the drum break part of a record and looped it. It was the start of a new type of music. In '82, it was the Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. What a contrast from a block party soundtrack to the socially conscious style of rap, and it would add a new element to the hip-hop movement. Initially viewed by the masses as a passing fad, but Public Enemy and BDP, Slick Rick, the Jungle Brothers, and Kool Moe Dee would prove that the music was moving on beyond all that. But if we fast forward to this present day situation that we're based in, the main way to get paid is imitation of whatever is on heavy rotation from the clubs to the TV and radio stations. With a kind of lyrical content that reflects the quest for material objects, this context is tailor-made for a record to get played, and it stayed the same way for the last decade. If it's not the ice and the grills and the clubs and the materialism, it's the guns and the drugs and the thugs and the street credibility given to a rapper who has a criminal past. Whatever happens to the lyrical skill that an individual has to have, is it not as critical as whether or not you've ever been shot? That seems to be the main focus. Image is everything in this industry that controls it, and as long as the controversy itself is covered so well in the press, it becomes less about the music and all about the image. So from an underground dream to a mainstream illusion, From the roots of hip-hop music to its evolution. It's the money that was made and the blood that was spilled, but it's the lives that were saved. It's the house that Cool Herc built.